All right, today I'm going to be explaining how to write your poem. I know that there are some people that missed the first part of this week, some people that have gotten started and are really just lost and confused. So what I want to do is go through the process with you. That way you're able to understand exactly what it is that we're doing. Okay, so we're going to click on classwork, and this is anybody's classwork. You're going to click on assignment number 3. You'll notice you have an attachment. When you open that attachment, this is what it's going to look like. You will see 2 boxes. These 2 boxes represent the 2 stanzas that you are going to be writing. We're going to go through one stanza at a time. So this video is specifically for stanza 1, how to fill out the first box. We went ahead and gave you a sentence starter because we're talking about the past and the present. So we thought it would be best for you to understand how to write a poem from past tense using the phrase "we used to," and then move on to your second stanza, you would use present tense. But for today's purposes, we're going to focus just on this box. Now, some things to keep in mind. I'm going to go ahead and type in here. You are not going to follow what you're not going to copy what I type. Okay? Things you can talk about in stanza number 1. So we want to think back to everything that we've learned about so far. We've learned about intolerance throughout history. In fact, that's what our article is talking about. And the basic things that the article discusses are the Holocaust, which is where Hitler and the Nazi Party discriminated against Jews. We also talked about apartheid, which is in South Africa, where Black South Africans were not given the same privileges as white Europeans. That assignment, the article also talked about what intolerance is. So what is intolerance? You should probably answer that question. And then how do those 2 events, the Holocaust, apartheid, how do those relate to intolerance? You really want to show how the Holocaust was a display of intolerance. What about Jews being persecuted and killed? What about that was intolerant? What about apartheid was intolerant? You want to explain those things in your first stanza because remember, your reader does not know everything that you know. So you must include details about the events you mention. And you must include past tense language. So verbs like was, were, did, etc. We don't want to use words that are present tense because we're talking specifically about the past. Your stanza needs to be 10 lines, right? 10 lines total. You can write more than 10 lines if you'd like. You can write less than 10 lines if you'd like. It's really up to you. I would suggest that you break up talking about the Holocaust and apartheid. Create a pattern for yourself. If you want to rhyme, rhyme. If you don't want to rhyme, don't rhyme. It's really up to you. But remember, this is a poem. So poetry is supposed to look and sound like a poem. So I went ahead and added an example. We used to look back at those days where Hitler and the Holocaust was here. Now I wonder if they were ever sincere. When I heard Jews were being killed, I was not very thrilled. I learned about the apartheid and how people were treated different. When I think about intolerance, I think of change, but it seems like it just stayed the same. So every thought was really separated by a line break. You notice some lines were a little longer, some were a little shorter. There were some lines that rhymed, some that didn't. This was really hitting everything that it needed to. So it talked about the Holocaust right here, Hitler and the Holocaust. It talked about Jews being killed here. It talked about apartheid here. It talked about how people were treated different during apartheid here. It talked about intolerance here. This student also included past tense verbs like heard, like was, like were, following every instruction that was given. Is the poem perfect? No, it's not perfect. That's not what we're asking of you. We're not asking that you be award-winning poets right now. If you can give us your best effort and show that you put an attempt in, that's what we're really looking for. Make sure you're keeping your information, your words on topic, and make sure that you're trying your best. We'll give you feedback, but we can't give you feedback until you actually write something. So this is your first stanza, only 10 lines, not that many words. It's really up to you what you decide to do. This student decided to use first person. They talked about themselves and their own emotions. You can do that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And if you need to have any additional information about the Holocaust, about apartheid, you can look back at your article, which is here, or you can actually go to the instructions on this, and I posted a link in the comments for some YouTube videos to review the Holocaust and to review apartheid. I also attached the brainstorm that I just showed you on this video to your document so you can look at it separately. All right, remember, poetry is supposed to be emotion. It's supposed to get some feelings out there. And your job as an 8th grade student is to, number 1, complete the assignment. And then number 2, look back and see, can you make it more creative? Can you use more specific words? Can you get the information that's required into your poem? All right, I believe in you guys. You're going to do a great job. Don't stress. It's going to be fine. Okay?